All right, everybody, pod or not, this is the section where we'll go around the horn. And I'm going to actually be selfish here and I'm going to plug the blog 32 Tots. And I'm going to throw out a food for thought that I had on the blog and see if Felice, Elijah, and Lukey, Arm Dog, if they agree with it, if that's a tasty tot, or if it's not, if you'd go in a different direction. So this could be a little bit of a judgment, an opinion, as you will. So I started off the blog this week talking about some of the roster moves, and the first thing that we never got to with the trades, we kind of focused in the other conversation about New York, Islanders, Rangers, and Devils. But Kiefer Sherwood is out of Vancouver. He's out of the blue and green threads, and he'll be all dressed in San Jose Shark teal very soon. He was traded for 2 second-round picks and defenseman Cole Clayton, who is playing with the San Jose Barracuda currently. Let's go around the horn here. I kind of felt like in the blog I wrote that Sherwood is a good complementary piece to this young core. He hits. He's a banger. He'll throw around his body, and he also can get on the score sheet. He's definitely popping off this year more than probably even the Canucks expected. And so GM Mike Greer of the San Jose Sharks made this move. Is it a tasty tot or not? To you, Luke.
I'm gonna say it's not a tasty tot. Um, it's a bit of a steep price to pay for a bit of a banger. But, I mean, he's on a bit of a shooting bender, so if he keeps lighting the lamp, I could see it being a positive ad. But overall, I think he's a good depth guy to have. But um, for the Sharks' sake, I'd kind of want them to swing a little bit higher going into the trade deadline. So we'll see how it plays out, but I just don't see it as a super high upside addition to the team.
That's fair. That's fair. How about you, Felicia, Elijah?
Yeah, I'm on a similar page with Luke here. Like they're kind of like in that spot where they're in a wild card spot, but they need something like a bit bigger than just Kiefer Sherwood to put them like up there. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad like trade to make, but like I want to see them do a little more with it.
That's fair. That's fair. I kind of think of this as a first step for GM Winker. There's something that I've heard. I'm I'm just a nobody. Like I have never played high level hockey, but I can only imagine in a room where you've had a bit of a challenge, you're a growing group, and then all of a sudden, you have your stud generational player Macklin Celebrini just absolutely pull you into a playoff fight, and then the GM decides to go and make a move. And if I'm being honest with you, the amount of players that actually come out of the second round that amount to anything are pretty few and far between. I could go through a couple of drafts, even just focusing on our 204 squad. But second round picks, I don't think San Jose needs any more second round picks right now. They need to do something a little bit more. And so I like this, and I wrote about it. So it's for me, it's a tot. And for me, for the reason just that GM Mike Greer is giving his team some added fuel, like a tater tot. He's giving them the fuel to push them, that he believes
Yeah.
in them, that this is something where he's not just going to sit on his hands. There's an opportunity here to bring in somebody who can throw his body around come playoff time. Like I said earlier, there's the guys that get you there, and there's the guys that get you through. And I feel like Kiefer Sherwood, barring if he can stay healthy, I think he was actually in the press box watching San Jose light up the Canucks 5-1 and Celebrini just all over the score sheet the other night. But I like this, and that's just a selfish plug for me.
Yeah.
But
I like how you put it there. Like, if it's the first step, I like the move. If it's the only move and like their big addition, I'm not so keen on
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah, that's fair. And that kind of leads into the second part of the Tot or Not, because I think GM Mike Greer, this was my second focus. I think he could have his sights on more assets in this Vancouver Connect teardown. If we Vancouver gets enough airtime on the Western Seaboard in the Canadian sports talk lands. But the Vancouver Canucks and the assets and the teardown, we don't know where it'll end, but there's been a lot of talk about Elias Pettersson. They traded JT Miller last year, thinking that that was going to solve the issue. It wasn't the issue. The issues run a lot deeper in this roster construction, unfortunately. And for Elias Pettersson, who was supposed to take a step without the nail gun that was JT Miller, I think, for he hasn't taken a step to be the elite center where he had over 100 points in his earlier 20s. So there's a lot of talk that Vancouver is going to move on from this. They traded Quinn Hughes, so it doesn't strike me as a shock that you would trade more. If you're going to trade your captain, then you would trade your what would be the guy who's supposed to be your number one offensive guy. So I'll give some I'll give some flowers to the Daily Face Off guys. Really respectable podcast that I'm dialed in with. So the host of the show, Tyler Uremchuk, actually got me thinking and kind of inspired this thought. But he suggested that actually the best fit for Elias Pettersson would actually be to join Sherwood, his old teammate in San Jose, for the main reason that they could take on his whole contract, which would be, I think it's 11 plus million. You have to check cap friendly, but it would be over 10. And the San Jose Sharks actually have 50 plus million coming up with the cap going up. So they could take on his full contract with that amount of cap, and they wouldn't have to pay very much to do that. I think Elias Pettersson is coming not at a high cost, just because I think to do the reset for Vancouver. So what do you guys think of Elias Pettersson to the Sharks? Tot, tasty tot, or not? Let's go reverse around the horn. What do you think, Felice? What do you think, Elijah?
I think it's a pretty tasty tot. I think it's a risk. I feel like you never really for sure know how Elias Pettersson is going to play. If maybe that change in scenery will amp him up to be putting up 100-point seasons again. Maybe like it'll turn him into that player, but like putting him like as the second guy underneath Celebrini, so he's not doesn't have like all the scoring pressure on him could be a good move. And like I said before, I'd want to see the Sharks make another move so they can like push for something this season. So I think Patterson could be a good look here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, let's throw it over to you, Luke. What do you think? Tot or not?
yeah, it's a risky tot, but I'm eating this tot. Think a guy like Pedersen. I mean, you're not sure exactly what you're getting in him, but I think kind of like Elijah said there, putting him kind of in a secondary role could be good for him. And you take a look at a guy like Trevor Zegras in Anaheim who kind of struggled for a bit there and kind of just needed a change of scenery and has really had a bounce back year this year. Think you could see something similar there with Elias Pettersson. So I'd take this risk.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys jumping on this one because I thought, and yeah, I got to give flowers to Tyler Uremchuk on this one. That was very thought provoking for me, is bringing a guy who has been so focused on in Vancouver, and like if we went back to the prior Swedes in Vancouver, like the Sedin twins, like at least you had each other as brothers to kind of deflect and to kind of share the load. But this is like too much for Elias Pettersson. I think he needs a reset. I think San Jose would be a great spot for him to go. they call it man Jose. There's just nothing but guys down there, and so you're not going to be you're just one of the guys in Man Jose. You're just gonna go down. You're gonna have some nice sunshine. I think Sweden, people from Sweden, you could use a little bit more of that vitamin sunshine. And with how rainy it is in Vancouver, like I just want more for Elias Pettersson. I think he would be really good for the league if he could pop off again. He was such a
Yeah,
dynamic guy. He was in our clip of our opening for 32 Tots, our opener. That
he
goal
was
that
one of
he
my favorite guys to watch in the league. Like, I
yeah,
thought he had like heart potential in his career, and it's
yeah.
kind of
So it
gone
would
off
just
the
be a
rails.
waste of talent if he wasn't able to kind of have a reset. So selfishly, I would like to see him move, whether it be to San Jose. I also thought about another team with cap, like a lot of cap room, like Tyler Yaremchuk, a daily faceoff set, and Detroit actually has quite a bit of cap room as well, and they've had their luck with Swedes in the past too, with Zetterberg being their big guy going back. And that's going back a bit, but with the Iser plan, I don't know if that money fits. I feel like Stevie Y's pretty dialed in with what he wants to pay guys and who he wants. But if you're slotting in there with Dylan Larkin, that could also maybe be like a secondary thing. But I don't know. You guys are in with the tasty thought of San Jose for Pedersen, eh?
Yeah, that's a tasty one.
Okay. So that's at the top of the blog, and I'm not reading the whole thing. You can go and do that. It'll be dropped in the link. Highly recommend it. I had a lot of fun putting my food for thought together on this one, and you can subscribe to that one and check it out on the weekly. The biggest tater tot, the big buff tot. And for you audio listeners, you'll have to forgive me on this one. But those of you who might have tuned in and you might have made a connection already, I'm going to make sure that you absolutely check this. This is a this is a big gift that I got from my buddy AJ, a big podcast guy. Got to drop some clicks in the chat for that guy. He got me this Bufflin trucking hat based out of Minnesota, where Roseau, where Bufflin and his family originates from. And so, boys, like I getting goosebumps just saying Buff is coming back to Winnipeg. Who wants to jump on this one?
All I gotta say is, what kind of fishing deal did they have to make with him to get him here? They gotta be giving him like just like free like fishing gear for life or something.
Yeah, we all know
How did
that
they
he's
track this guy
How
down?
did they get this man?
okay. Can I jump in here with my joke? And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I was like, I thought when I saw the name that Buff is coming back to Winnipeg to play hockey, I thought they fooled him. I thought they invited him to like come back to ice fish. And they said, Bufflin, you don't even have to come play hockey. You could drill a hole in the center ice and we'll stock a pond for you of whatever fish you want. We just need you back for this alumni game. And so nobody would blame Buff for just sitting on a pail, drilling a hole in center ice of Canada Life Center, and
That'd
just
be some content.
throwing in a line. And I know he was on the
That
back
would sell out the building.
That'd be pretty elite.
and imagine him like catching something from the stock pond and just raising it, and everybody giving him a 33-minute standing ovation. 1 minute for each digit that he repped for
It's a
the
33-inch stocked walleye too.
Maybe
Yeah, that's what I'm
200.
talking about, Felicia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. And that was my joke, that's the only way that they got him to come back, was like actually like faking that he was just coming back to like fish again. And it was an all-inclusive paid trip. But the picture on the blog, you got to go check it out. He's playing in like the Minnesota Beauty League, and he's got the Jets colors with a star on his shoulder. And he is going to get ready, and nobody knows if he's going to pull a Mark Stone hit on somebody again in an alumni game. Like, boys, we have to get tickets for that.
We
And
have to.
Have to.
I realized looking at the info, the alumni game is actually a Canada Life Center, which I think is probably the right way to do it. I think the last one was played outdoors, and then you had a
Yeah.
bunch of weather challenges that kind of delayed things. Here, you know the elements, you know what you can control. But the fact that he's coming back and the fans get their chance uh to show the
Yeah.
appreciation for Bufflin, who for me, when the Jets came back and him being one of the guys we inherited from Atlanta, nobody was mad with that. He
No.
was dynamic. The fact that Chicago had to trade him after that cup run is just so unfortunate for them, but so fortunate for us as a fan base that we got to watch him in his peak and prime. Essentially, he was an alternate position on the ice. He was not defenseman, he was not forward, he was rover. And that was an
Yeah.
actual position in the origin of hockey, if you go back far enough in history. And the fact that we get to have him come back to the city, we get to like I'm prophesying this right now. I just want to speak this so that we are there and a part of that standing like I can't imagine what that's gonna feel like in the building. It's gonna be electric.
Yeah. Might be the
I've
loudest we'll ever see the building.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors that he's already training and cutting weight. I don't know if this is true or not, but well, we'll know on the
I
day.
mean, he was out playing in that men's league, like James was saying, so
Yeah,
he's
so
dialing in. Blake Wheeler in the press conference said he's all in, so
Oh man. And like the fact that he's on the ice kind of just shows like he really wants to come back and like be impactful. Like he could just show up and
yeah,
everybody's not going to hold it against him. He is such a specimen. Like I wrote it in the blog. Like he is a unicorn type of player. The the frame that he had and the way that he played was finesse but power. It
yeah.
like, and it's one of those things. Selfishly, I hope we never see a player like that again because it's so special for me as a fan. But also like unselfishly, like I would love to see his kid come or something,
yeah,
like the Kachuk brothers that came after Big Walt and their dad, and the way that they play is very reminiscent of their father. Um,
imagine we had a
selfishly, I
couple
don't
little
want.
buffs on the blue line.
Oh, can you imagine? I know he's a dad, and I don't know what kind of crop of kids he's got, but I'm sure he's teaching them how to fish really well though. And the fact that he could just show up and he's gonna get his flowers, he's gonna get his ovation. But the fact that he's like putting in some time on the ice just shows like he wants to come and do it
He
right.
cares. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think anybody would fault him for just showing up.
no,
And I can't like I'm so stoked. Number 33 back in jet blue. So that
never thought I'd see the day.
yeah, yeah. I kind of just lost hope that he might come back just because of the way things kind of ended. It was a little bit fuzzy, let's just put it that
Yeah,
way.
Mhm.
And the fact that he's coming back at a part of this alumni kind of leads me into some concluding thoughts. Big Buff is the biggest thought of them all. Um, but like going around the horn here, who's somebody that not from the old Jet, and I'm the old guy on the podcast, but actually talking about like before the Jets came back from Atlanta. But who is somebody you would like to see from this kind of Jet like 1.0, 2.0, whatever you call it these days? But who's somebody you would want to see? Luke, can I throw it over to you first and then
yeah.
on the horn?
I got a couple guys on my list. First guy here, kind of started us out in net. I'd like to see Andre Pavlik make an
Yeah,
appearance.
he's
Oh
on
my
my
goodness.
list. That'd be unreal.
Can you imagine Pavi? Oh man. Like
Yeah,
that would be unreal actually. That
yeah.
would be pretty sweet.
As a kid, like the guy wasn't like the greatest goalie ever, but I just don't know, had a special
But
place for
he's who we
Pavlik.
had, and we inherited him, obviously. We inherited him.
Yeah,
But
he was our guy.
but you had to be with him. Like he was the
Yeah,
guy. You had to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Another guy that I think would be pretty cool to see is Nick Antropov scored the first goal
Score the
in
first goal.
Jets 2.0
Yeah.
history. So I think that would be a pretty cool guy to get.
Scored on Montreal, right? And we're
Yep,
playing Montreal.
yep.
I think it has that.
So that would be pretty full circle. Then my last guy, the party, Adam Party. Depth defense. But that guy, he scored just a sick goal against Anaheim in our first playoffs. It was like a fake slap shot into like a wraparound. And it was just so sick. And I don't know, just seems like a great personality. So,
Oh, you didn't just do that, Luke. That's too good. Okay, Adam Party. I got a little bit of a quick story because Adam Party, like a rock guy. He's from Newfoundland. He's from the Rock. And when the Jets came back, then they also had the ice caps, right? The My
yeah,
dad always made the joke they were the Tim Hortons ice caps, not St. John's, but that was Adam Party, and I think he started probably with the ice caps, and he might have thought that he was going to be back and forth from the club because he actually played with the Flames prior, and he was more of a mainstay with the Flames, and kind of came to the Jets kind of towards the end. But do either of you remember that game against Chicago where he got drilled through the glass
yeah.
and that
Bucket game.
fan took his bucket off and it was just wild? Oh, like that is a core memory unlocked for me
Yeah.
as soon as you say Adam Party.
Wasn't there a Jets game where everybody was wearing buckets or something for that?
I wouldn't put it past not quite to the
That sounds
Kyle Connor
familiar.
buckets, but yeah, I
I
think there
think the
has
party bucket was like trending for a bit, so
so
that
good.
was unreal.
That's all. It's unreal.
So you got Party and Pavlik. I like the PNP. That's a good one. And we got PPA. We got
Yeah,
Andrew
and
Pop.
throw Antropov in there. Yeah.
Yeah, PAP, I guess. Pappin.
Oh,
All right.
another. There's too many.
Yeah. How about you, Felice? Elijah, who do you want to see?
All right, so one guy I'll start out with, just like Buff, really ran up the penalty minutes. Mark Stewart.
Yeah, I
Yes,
I was gonna say you gotta have Stewie in there.
Mark
Marky
Stewart,
Mark
a
Stew.
D pair of Mark Stewart and Bufflin in the alumni game would be pretty unreal. And
That's a
then for my other pick, I got Tobias Enstrom.
Yeah, that's another guy I
if
wanted to
you weren't
say.
gonna go there, I was gonna go there, Felicia.
Yeah,
I want to see Toby and Big Buff on a lineup
Yeah,
together. Do you
that's
guys
it. Would
I
be
remember?
know.
unreal.
I know Toby kind of left on rough terms, but hoping they can them
Hoping
back
they
on
can
good
mend.
Hopefully
terms.
they could patch it up because do you remember Toby's giant stick? Like that's what I always remember of.
Yeah,
He was a smaller guy, and he kind of came into the league when it wasn't trending yet for the smaller D,
yeah,
like more now like Lane Hudson, who's a smaller D but can wheel it, right? But
yeah,
Toby, he would go back and it was always so tough because what corner are you throwing it into between Toby and Buff? You were throwing it
yeah,
into Toby's corner, and the amount that he got drilled going back for puck retrievals, I won't forget it. But the fact that he had that long twig and he would actually choke up on the top of his stick
yeah.
to be able
I'm
to
remembering that. Yeah,
finesse the puck, like you know what? These guys are professionals in their craft, and he made a professional living playing hockey, which I never did. The fact that he did that is just pretty cool, and I would love to see him back on the blue line at Canada Life, which I'm always gonna think of it as MTS Center, but
Yeah.
that's a solid pick, Felicia. Okay, boys, are you ready for mine?
Yeah.
I haven't looked over the list. I just looked at Bufflin and I just got so hyped that I pretty much wrote the blog all around Dustin Bufflin. But do you want to know what was on my first jersey? My very first Winnipeg Jets jersey when they came back wasn't even a number.
3 letters.
GST. Yeah, you heard it right. I paid $25 for a 3-letter name bar that I had to rip off the year after because they were all on 1-year contracts, but I was so psyched on these guys. Fellas, I was so psyched on GST. Like, okay, maybe I never even brought up GST because I wanted to talk about it now because they were the digger line. They were the 4th line. And when they
They
got on
were.
the ice, they might have been hemmed in their own zone for like a whole minute, but that didn't care for the people of MTS Center. You would hear in the stands, GST, GST,
ST.
GST.
ST.
And boys, I don't know where I lost it. I must have lost it in a move. But there was an actual shirt that I got from Jets Gear that had GST on it and it had their faces on it. Like now, I
Oh.
should have put it in the vault. Like I should have put it in the bank vault. But I wore it when I worked at Montana's as a server on Jets game days, and the people that would come up to me and say, "Where did you get that shirt?" And I said, "I don't know if they're printing them anymore. They're at Jets Gear." And so selfishly, I want to see the G, the Tanner Glass. I want to see the S, Jimmy Slater. All right, GS and the T. I think he's actually on the
Yep.
list if memory
He's
now.
already been named.
Chris Scorburn. I mean, that's a S. I
Gorberg.
mean Thorburn. So that's GST, Glass, Slater, Thorburn. I want to see that line, and I want to chant GST from the stands when they're on the ice. So
That'd be unreal. That'd be
That would be
electric.
electric.
thanks for riding with me with that little blast from the past. That was nostalgic.
I'm glad you guys went there with those names because those were pretty much the rest of the ones that I would have wanted to talk about. So covered it all.
Oh my goodness. I think
That's gonna be
that
unreal.
that is a good way to just pause the puck talk because this is not the end. This is just a pause. You know, on SBF Net, we always keep the puck talk moving. So whether that's going to be in the blog, whether that's going to be on the channel, you know that we will keep it moving. Grab your stick, do up your chin strap, lace up the skates. This is 32 Tots.